This podcast is sponsored by nobody.
Hey everybody, this is Cathy Podewell, Judy from Night of the Demons, and you are listening to Tommy Throwback Kovac on Splat from the Past. He tells great jokes. He's a great guy.
Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, it is Halloween. Happy Halloween. Well, actually, this is Thursday, October 26th, but we're going to be dropping this on Halloween. I got Cathy Podewell returning for the 4th time, and we're going to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Night of the Demons. We are going to talk about, a couple other career highlights that we've never talked about before, and just the minutia of whatever. I love having conversations with Cathy. She is the best. She is a total gem of a lady, and I love her laugh, and I love making her laugh. So yeah, I'm going to be dropping this on Halloween, along with my rare exclusive interview with Hal Havens from Night of the Demons. And it's going to be fantastic. I hope you all have a happy Halloween out there, wearing your costumes and being, free-spirited and perverted or whatever your heart desire is. I know I will. So yeah, here is my new interview with Cathy Podewell. Can you believe it's been 35 years since Night of the Demons came out?
No, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's 35. We were in our 20s when we made that movie.
Yeah.
So how could it be older than we were at the time we made it? That's sort of mind-boggling to think.
Yeah.
You just talked to Hal the other day, you said?
I did talk to Hal. Oh my God, he is such a gentleman. And Beatrice Bupley put us in touch, and that was just so wonderful. He is just a great guy, and oh my God, he loves John Belushi, I'll tell you.
Did you see the new John Belushi documentary? Or maybe it's not new. I just saw it.
It's about 3 years old. Yeah, I saw it when it first aired on Showtime. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. That's where he got the whole eat a bowl of, I don't know if we can.
Eat a bowl of fuck.
Yeah, okay, we can
swear.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I was like, I can't remember. Can I swear?
Of course.
Yeah, wasn't that from Belushi? I think that was from Belushi.
That was from Belushi, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I remember you telling me, weren't you working as a waitress when you auditioned for this?
I was.
Yeah.
I was, and I quit my waitress job for Night of the Demons, and I put it out into the universe. I said, I am not coming back. I will never be a waitress again, because this is going to be the start of my career. Mm-hmm. And it was. And I worked, and I never had to go back to waitressing. Not that I didn't mind waitressing at all.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty good at it, It's kind of fun to be social, but it was great. I put that out in the universe, and Night of the Demons, that was it.
Where did you work at?
It was called Pina Fini, and it was this Italian restaurant in the Beverly Center, next to the Hard Rock Cafe. For those in the 80s that were in LA, the Beverly Center was, this restaurant in particular even was pretty happening on the weekend. Right. And so that's where I worked.
Ooh, a little rough, I'm half Italian on my mom's side.
Yeah. And are you I don't know why I'm gonna say, are you a good cook? You've got Italian in you, you must be a good cook.
I can't cook worth a shit. My mom can cook just great though,
Yeah. How's your mom, by the way?
She's fine, she has her good days and her bad days, but mom is mom, as I say.
Yes, exactly. I have one of those too. Yeah.
Yeah, I told Hal this the other day. I said to him, back in the '80s, the slasher genre was fizzling out after like 5 or 6 years after Halloween and Friday the 13th and all of its ripoffs. And then next thing you know, all these teenagers in trouble movies started coming out. You had Return of the Living Dead, Chopping Mall, The Lost Boys, Fright Night, Hide and Shriek, this more obscure one. And this was one of those, teenagers in trouble movies, and one of the best. You all had great chemistry. It was well cast, and there's this wink, wink, nudge, nudge sense of fun about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the campiness. I mean, it's so absolutely 80s horror in that sense. The characters are so the goth girls and the jock boy and the goody two shoe girl, and everybody's defined and pigeonholed. But I think that it. Characters emerged, and some were very funny, but I think we as actors all got along so well, and I think that might have also come across.
Yeah. Now, you, Linnea, Amelia, and Jill are very different personalities. Did you four ever engage in girl talk offset hours?
And Allison Barron. There's one more girl.
And Allison Barron,
Allison.
I'm sorry.
Right. We all hung out. I don't really remember having just girl talk, because I remember all of us. Well, first of all, Linnea and Amelia were in makeup so much that, I'm sure they had super interesting conversations. And, those of us that were waiting around for makeup or whatever, we sat outside. None of us really wanted to go up into the house where the whole house set was an actual house. And the bedrooms upstairs were our dressing rooms. But none of us wanted to go hang out in this creepy house by ourselves in these rooms. So we all kept our director's chairs outside, and there's plenty of shots of us all outside, sitting around, and that's how we got to know each other so well. That we weren't up by ourselves in a dressing room. So it was great.
Well, I finally got closure as to why Amelia won't come on here. My friend Greg, who, by the way, he wants to connect with you. He would love to interview you. He connected me with her after he had interviewed her last year, and she's offended by the word splat, and then she says if I really want to interview her, I should donate $150 to her next trip to Africa. I'm like, really? How low can you go?
Wait, she has an objection to splat?
Yeah, some people do. I've had a few people say it.
Really?
Yeah, because they could see the obvious masturbation reference and an obvious, blood reference or any of that stuff. They just think that's an offensive word. Some people.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I mean, I guess you can't fight that.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. I'll tell you something though. If I had been familiar with the term latchkey kid 6 years ago, which is what I am, I'm a latchkey kid, I would have called this probably the Latchkey Kid podcast, because I think that would have been a much better name suited for me. If I had known that I was going to shift away from horror and talk to everybody of everything that I love, I probably would have done that, But Latchkey Kid will be a part.
Especially because the Latchkey Kid, that does make sense, because the Latchkey Kid, you think, they're home by themselves watching TV or whatever after school. So yeah, that's pop culture, which is what you seem to have. You're right, a little bit of everybody, right? These days. Yeah.
It'll definitely be a part of my memoir title. I'm trying to figure that one out, once I get it finished. But yeah, I mean, talking to Hal was fantastic. We both agree that Jill's boobs were fantastic.
Oh, perfection. They were perfection.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound stereotypical. Asian women are not known for having big ones, right? So she has a gift. I mean, a real gift there. I mean, when I was a teenager, I gravitated toward more Linnea's, but as I get older, I'm like, man, Jill's were pretty good too. Yeah.
Well, that's 80s horror for you. You've
That
got a
is.
little, little of everything for everybody.
Absolutely. I think your first big TV credit, or close to it, was on The Hogan Family, a.k.a. Valerie.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I did Growing Pains, actually, right before The Hogan Family. But, that was working with Jason Bateman on The Hogan Family was really fun. He was a doll, so sweet. And as was Kirk Cameron and the whole gang over at Growing Pains. But, yeah, those two pretty much were kind of back-to-back, I think, if memory serves me.
Yeah, I mean, God, the situation with Roseanne and the Connors is very similar to Valerie and the Hogan Family, of how, she stood up for herself, and then next thing you know, they're getting rid of her, and then it's a whole different show. I mean, that is just mean for a network to do that,
I know. I feel so bad for Roseanne. Yeah. I mean, it was her show, obviously.
I mean, I don't agree with her politically and all that stuff, but hey, I think that, she had a good idea, and I watched it a couple times. It wasn't as bad as they thought it was, but I mean, of course, we were in a state of panic at the time,
yes.
And I guess just
everything was heightened.
We weren't ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think she apologized and, made.
I can't imagine Roseanne apologizing for anything.
I think she did. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was. I felt bad for her.
It was pretty awful. I forgot you did that 2-part episode of Growing Pains, the Dance Fever episode.
Right.
And oh my God, Johnny Dark, the great comedian, is playing the DJ, and he always yells like Tarzan after the song is over. And I remember he stabs himself in the groin with something, and he's got like one hand over the wound, and he's got his hand in the air like, he's about to stab it. That was so funny.
I don't remember that part, actually. I don't remember that, but I remember him. He was... Yeah. He's very, very vivid character in that 2-parter, yeah.
Yeah, it cracked me up when I saw that years ago. I think I saw it when it first aired, and I saw it again on like TBS Superstation when they used to rerun it. But also, you were a guest on the Pat Sajak show.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Do you remember anything about it?
That was fun.
Yeah.
I do, because... Harry Connick Jr. was also a guest, and I got to chat with him a little bit because he grew up in New Orleans, obviously, and he used to play. My aunt is a jazz singer in New Orleans, so it was really fun. I was like, "Hey, I think you know my aunt," and her name's Banu Gibson, and he was like, "Banu, I know Banu," So that was what was memorable from that show, and I want to say, was LL Cool J? I can't remember who the other guest was.
Oh, I could tell you. But
anyway, that was, yeah. Oh, you know?
The baseball legend, Joe Garagiola, Harry Connick Jr., and another guest of mine, Monica Piper, very funny comedian.
Yeah, okay, so then, it was just Harry Connick that I got to chat with, I think, on that one.
Yeah, I remember the Monkees were on the Pat Sajak show, and my parents taped it because I'm a huge Monkees fan. Davey was a crush of mine early on, and we watched we watched it, and I watched it over and over again and stuff. I was a huge Monkees fan, and
I was too. That's funny. I didn't know they were on. All 4 of them?
Yeah. Was it? I think so. I think it was all 4 of them.
Had somebody passed by then, but maybe not.
No. This was 1989. Yeah. They didn't start passing until just like a decade ago.
Oh, okay. Didn't Davey pass away first?
He was the first. Yeah, that was 2012. I think.
Oh, it was that late. Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier than that. Oh,
maybe 13. I can't remember. Yeah. It was one of the two, but I was sad. It's funny.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny. He lived in San Francisco, and my mom, she works at the cable company. She had one of her tech guys go out there to fix something with his cable, and he was there with all these girls, and they were having like an orgy in the hot tub.
So funny.
Yeah. Yeah, a true story.
True story.
And then you were on the Byron Allen show.
Yes. Do you know who the guests were on that one?
Yes, I looked them all up because I wanted to do it because they weren't on YouTube. I was shocked that your episodes weren't on YouTube. As Jack A. Harry, David Brenner, Jermaine Jackson, and Rick Williamson.
Wow. I just remember Byron being very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But I must not have had any conversation with anybody because I don't have any recollection of anybody but Byron. But that was I don't. Sorry, I can't remember.
It's okay. Yeah. Byron was one of the youngest guys to do a stand-up set on the Tonight Show. Right after Alan Bursky and Freddie Prinz, I think he broke their record. I think he must have been 17, and they were 18 and 19, respectfully.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Good for him.
Yeah, and a lot of people criticize him because he's so successful business-wise, and stuff. But I've always heard that he's a great guy.
Yeah, no, he was super sweet, super sweet.
Mm-hmm. We recently lost Angela Lansbury, and you did an episode of Murder, She Wrote. I
did. She was lovely, just such a lady,
Mm-hmm.
just an icon, amazing. And I also on Murder, She Wrote, I had a bunch of scenes with Jessica. Oh my gosh. Played Jason Bateman's mom on Arrested Development.
Uh-huh.
Jessica, do you know who I'm talking about? I'm blanking. Oh my gosh. Jessica Walters.
Jessica Walters, yes.
Jessica Walters, yeah. So she played my sister / spoiler alert, I think, mom on Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of scenes with her, and she was amazing too. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with some amazing actors. It's kind of crazy. I was just thinking the other day when Burt Young passed away.
Yeah.
I worked with him on a movie called Beverly Hills Brats.
Right.
In that movie, there were a whole bunch. Ruby Keeler, Natalie Schaefer, who played, Mrs. Howell from Gilligan's Island, was my grandma. Yeah. Martin Sheen was my dad in that.
Grant Kramer.
Grant Kramer.
Yeah.
Grant Kramer. His mom, Terry Moore, produced and starred in that movie. And she played my mom. And Ramon Estevez, Emilio's brother, played my brother. And Peter Billingsley played the lead role.
So he didn't play Martin's brother because he looks more like Martin than you.
Yeah, no, isn't that funny? Yeah, no, he was Martin's son. Okay. Yeah, so he was. Yeah. So
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
that's crazy.
I'm just saying, so many excellent actors and legends that I got to work with. So this is fun going down memory lane with you.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Burt Young.
Come on, give me some more.
Yeah, Burt Young. I mean, God, he was so great in everything I saw him in. But he was pretty much what you see is what you get. He's a straight shooting Italian guy from Brooklyn or wherever he was from, and he just brought this thing to every role where he's just he's a little guy who's intimidating, but yet he's got a fun and goofy side to him.
Exactly. He was his Rocky character in almost everything he did, but played it to perfection.
Yeah, we lost Cindy Williams recently. She was scheduled.
Yes.
She was scheduled to come on here, and I'm so sad I never got to talk with her.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you. She was so. Oh, that was a tragic loss. That didn't see that one coming, and but I had the best time. I was so starstruck when I worked with her on a TV movie called Earth Angel,
yep.
And I was a huge Laverne and Shirley fan when I was a kid.
Me too.
And so it was probably a little awkward for her at times because I probably was like, but I told her I was a huge fan, so I think she understood. But what a sweetheart, and so much fun. That movie was so much fun to do.
Yeah,
I was really, really lucky to get to work with her.
I told you the first time we talked how much I love Earth Angel. I'm going to make one more attempt to try to get Rainbow Harvest on here, because I told you that at that time I had, found out what name she went by at that time. I forgot it now. I'll try to get it again and try to get her on here next year because it's the 40th anniversary of Old Enough, the movie that she's known for the most.
Right. Wow. I know. I just looked her up on IMDb not that long ago, and she really never did anything much else after
Mirror,
that time of her life. Yeah. Mirror, Mirror, right.
Yeah, that's a horror movie I love. Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it. Saw it.
It's great. I never seen the sequels, and I didn't even know they existed until IMDb years later and stuff. But... well,
if you get Rainbow on, Tommy, you have to tell her that I send my love to her, please.
Oh, you know I will. You know.
Okay, good. Yeah, I loved her too. I worked with such nice people. I
just hope she says yes. I just hope so. So we should all see. I've had some heartbreakers recently tell me no, but it's not worth going into.
Uh-oh.
But Cindy, yeah, that was a real heartbreaker. I cried for probably a month after that. Me and her personal assistant had been going back and forth for about 18 months once the connection was finally made. And, yeah, it was a real bummer,
Well, I'm sorry you didn't get the opportunity because you would have been pleasantly surprised because I thought she was just very, very sweet.
We also lost, in that same episode of Murder, She Wrote, Bradford Dillman. He passed away not too long ago.
Oh, right. I forgot he was in it, too. But that's what happens when, 30 plus years has gone by. And
yeah. Barbara Bain is still alive.
Older. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's still alive?
Barbara Bain. She was in that episode, too.
Right. That's right. Right.
Yeah. Have you done any activities with the muscular dystrophy people lately?
I actually haven't. We, as a group, used to get together every summer, and I would bring my kids up, and because we were all originally from Northern California. I think I told you that we were from Northern California.
Yep, Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek. But yeah, so what happened was we all got older, and a lot of our friends with muscular dystrophy passed away, and it's just we keep in touch. Those of us that are still around, keep in touch, and but we don't get together as a group, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just moved to Modesto, so I'm closer to the Bay Area again, and it's great. I miss the Bay Area weather. It's getting cold now, but at least in Redding, we had summer at least until November 1st.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Modesto?
We moved June 1st.
Oh, June 1st. Okay. Well,
yeah.
Congratulations. Good for you.
Yeah,
so nice.
Yeah,
Modesto's really nice.
We've made the decision. Me, my mom, my brother, and my nephew who just moved in. We just made the decision. We don't have to stay in one place for too long. We can stay a year and then go somewhere else. Until we find where we want to be and stuff. So
Perfect.
It's fun. It's fun.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah. I talked to Cherie J. Wilson last year.
Yes.
Yes.
I think you told me. I think we talked. Did we talk after that? Or no?
I think it was just before, actually.
Or just before. Yeah, because I think I remember you telling me that you guys, she's a doll.
Yeah. Oh my God. So it was crazy. So the night before we were supposed to talk in 2021, I posted this meme that another guest of mine had posted. It was a dirty meme about how lesbians can finger girls better than guys, right? And she ended up canceling the interview, and I thought it was because of that meme. Well, as it turned out, as I found out when I talked to her like 6 months later, there's another Tommy Kovac that I get mistaken for all the time, who has a website, and he's a graphic artist, right?
Yeah.
And he draws, oh my God, horrific, kind of comic booky horror art, and he's a great artist, right? But she said she was a little offended by those images, right? And so I had to explain to her I wasn't that guy.
Oh,
So a mutual friend set her straight, and she came on last summer, and we had a blast. And I made her laugh out loud because we were doing the Chuck Norris jokes, and she loves Chuck Norris, working on him on Walker, Texas Ranger, and she loves the jokes about him. So I told her some she had never heard before.
Oh, that's funny. She's very close with Chuck, so
Yeah.
I'm sure she's heard her fair share of.
The summer that I started stand-up, that's all we did was tell each other Chuck Norris jokes, like, before we went on stage. Like, me and all, there was all these 16-year-olds who were, like, trying stand-up and open mic, and I was, like, 23 at the time, my friend was 21, and we were just being immature and just, like, telling Chuck Norris jokes the whole time.
I didn't know that was a thing, to tell Chuck Norris jokes.
Yeah, in the 2000s, when the internet really took off, there was all these jokes about Chuck Norris that, like, exaggerated his masculinity, and talk about, being the most intimidating kung fu expert there is, there's jokes like, Chuck Norris went to a Taco Bell for a Whopper and got one, Chuck Norris is currently suing NBC, claiming that Law and Order are the trademark names of his right and left foot. Jokes like that.
That's right. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I told her once she had never heard before, like, Chuck Norris's belly button is an electrical socket.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
She thought that was funny.
I bet he loves it. He's like 80, and I think his mom is still alive. She's over 100 or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed this guy. He's an expert on Canon Films, and Chuck Norris made a lot of his movies for Canon Films. Him and Charles Bronson were like the two Canon Film box office stars in the 80s. Right.
That's right.
It's crazy because Stallone and Arnold, they're at the major studios at that time,
Yeah, it's funny because and I don't even remember because I worked with Chuck on an episode of Walker, but my grandfather was in a movie he did, and I think it was a Canon film. It was called Code of Silence.
Oh, yes.
So my grandfather was in that. It was filmed in Chicago, and he was a Chicago actor.
Really?
So, yeah. My grandfather is the old man in Groundhog Day that Bill Murray saves. He begs for money every morning when he comes around the corner. Yeah. Before he sees Nate Ryerson or whatever. Yeah, that's my grandfather. So he and my grandmother were both veteran theater actors in Chicago and stage and then my grandfather in his later years did all these movies that came to town. So
I love it. Yeah, Code of Silence was actually not a Cannon film; it was an Orion film, and Andrew Davis, who directed The Fugitive later, he directed it. Yeah,
that's right. And Andy Davis is the son of Nate Davis, who was a theater actor with my grandparents in Chicago and one of their really good friends. I forgot that was the connection. That's how my grandfather got cast. Yeah. So crazy.
It's considered to be the best Chuck Norris movie, and I think if it had been for Canon, it probably wouldn't have been because they go a lot cheaper at Canon. But I think Code of Silence is a good movie, and it also was, I think, the movie that launched Dennis Farina to becoming an actor and retiring from law enforcement.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Do you
Yeah.
know, I don't think I've ever seen it, or if I did, I think I saw it. Like my grandfather wouldn't tell us, and I all of a sudden be watching TV, and I have to scream, "Mom, Grandpa's on TV!" You know. So it
Yeah.
was probably something like that that I watched it, but I should probably take another look all these years later. I
Yeah.
love watching Groundhog Day just to see my grandpa. Like, how cool is that? You
Yeah.
know, you can watch. You know, I miss my grandpa. Okay, let me put on a movie. Great.
My dad took me to see Groundhog Day when I was 9. I think it was on Valentine's Day we went, and we just loved it. We were just cracking up the whole time. And I interviewed the waitress, Robin Duke, who of course was in Second City with Harold Ramis and Bill Murray, and that was a great conversation.
Oh, wait, who did she play in Groundhog Day?
She's the quirky waitress. She's got a little mole on her cheek, you know, and she's always looking like a sourpuss. And she, like,
Oh, yes.
I think she wins Bill Murray at the dating auction.
That's. I think I could visualize her. Yes, that's. Gosh, how many people have you interviewed?
Let's see, about 1920 now.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. You have to write a book.
I've been working on my memoir on and off for a couple of years.
Good.
I need to get back to it because it got really emotional 2 years ago, and I had to like put it down for a while and gather my thoughts. And I think my thoughts have been gathered, and I'm going to get back to it shortly. Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about, you know, crazy stuff that's happened just in show business in general, you know, and just like memories I have of seeing movies for the first time, and like years later when I met the person, you know, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I know too what that's like. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like to meet or to work with,
Yeah.
somebody that you've admired, you know, or was a part of your childhood. You know, whatever. It's pretty darn special. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I've got some real toe curlers to tell. I'll tell you.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
get back to it. It sounds so good.
Back in April, I gotta tell you, back in April, I got my first prostate exam.
And
It wasn't what you think. It was a complete letdown, and here's the story. So I go in for my A1C levels, you know, to be checked because I have diabetes, you know. I got diagnosed shortly before we talked last time, I remember.
yes,
Because you were my last anniversary talk before I put the anniversary episodes out, I remember. And I actually got diagnosed the day of the first one, a month before. So this is what happened. So I go in, and my levels were good, and I had to get everything else checked, liver, whatever. And she's like, "You're almost 40. I think it's time for your first prostate exam." And I'm like, "Oh, yes, finally. I've been waiting for this. I want that finger. Yes, yes." So the diagnostics clinic that me and my mom went to for other blood work, they got closed down like the week before. And so we had to go to this one that I think my mom had to go to one time before, if I'm not mistaken. But I had never been there, right? So I go into the room, and this nurse is like in her late 20s, very cute. And her fingers are like nice and slender. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to enjoy that finger in my butt, right? So she takes the blood work, and then after she's done, she's like, "Okay, you can go now." And I'm like, "What about the prostate exam?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, it's part of the blood test." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're still trying to figure things out post Me Too and COVID and all that crap." And I'm like, "That is horseshit, man."
Oh, robbed. You were robbed, Tommy.
I was robbed. Yeah, I gotta tell you, I remember I bragged about it, like after it happened and stuff, and I talked about how much it was a letdown, right? And people who know me and know that I'm bisexual, they were like DMing me, going, "Yeah, you would have had a lot of fun," you know, and stuff like that.
funny.
Yeah.
God.
Freaking crazy. Did you take part in the strike that's going on?
I mean, yes. I only went to one picketing for like an hour, but I hoped to get out there. And they just had I think another meeting on Tuesday, and they were like, go out, picket, and I couldn't get out on Tuesday, but yeah, it's a long strike. I feel really, really bad for everyone whose lives depend on the financial, but it's an important time. I mean, we had to strike. I 100% stand by, SAG strong, but it's just like feeling they're just not making headway.
Yeah, it's funny how you say that. I plan on getting back out there. It seems like everyone has gotten so comfortable and so used to doing it now, and it's like the whole point is the whole point is not to go back out there. You got to get these people to frickin' be human. Is what you have to do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think, I thought the writer's strike was going to be it. I thought they were going to say, okay, and then the next week, the actor strike was going to come to a head, and then everything would be resolved. But no, it keeps going. But they've had a couple of meetings this week. I think it's going to get better. I can feel it. Yeah,
good. Okay, I like that positivity.
Yeah,
and it's good. Put that out in the universe.
Absolutely. Do you have any Halloween plans this year?
Well, I give out candy in my alter ego, Hilda the Witch, and actually Hilda will be landing on my body tomorrow because I read to 4 different elementary school classes each week, and so Halloween is Tuesday, and I usually read on Wednesday, so I'm reading tomorrow, and I'll be in green face paint and my full witch attire. And it's a ton of fun because I kind of try to stay in character for the whole, each class. I read to each class for a half hour. So, I stay in character, and it's like, it's like 2 hours of acting, once a year I get to do that. So, I'm looking forward to that. What about you? Any plans?
Let's see. I'm going to have a nerd out conversation on the podcast with a podcaster I've been friends with for a couple of years. We do one once a year where we nerd out. We thought Halloween was the perfect time this year. She's gone through a lot this year. She lost her mother in a really fucked up way, sadly to say. And so we're going to do that conversation. I'm going to drop this conversation in-house conversation later that day, and I'm going to probably eat some sugar-free candy and watch, horror movies,
Night of the Demons?
Probably. I usually do Dawn of the Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. That's my favorite, and once in a while, Night of the Demons. I'll probably definitely do it this year.
Yeah, it's perfect because it takes place on Halloween. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm dropping the 2 conversations on Halloween.
Yeah, perfect.
It's a special occasion. But
that's great.
But you don't dress up as Alice.
I don't have an Alice costume, and I know that. Linnea and Amelia have their respective characters' costumes that they wear for conventions and for photo ops and stuff, which I think is adorable. But yes, alas, I have no Alice in Wonderland costume.
Oh, that's sad.
I know.
Do you remember costumes you wore growing up?
I do, because Halloween was I loved it, and that was probably the actress in me. I just didn't know it. I was Pippi Longstocking.
Oh.
I was Cleopatra. I was a bride. I was a pumpkin.
Mm.
I was, what else was I? Those are the ones that stand out the most. Pippi was my favorite because I loved the Pippi books. So my mom was just a badass at making Halloween costumes, and she made a red yarn wig and put wire in the braids so they stood straight out, and oh my God, it was perfect.
Oh.
It was so perfect. Yeah, it was great. What about you?
I first Halloween costume I can remember that I loved. I was Pee Wee Herman, and I had a black suit, and I was so cute. I can send you the picture. It is so freaking cute. I was a pirate for a couple of years. I was a ninja, a clown. I was a doctor. I was really into Doogie Howser at that point. I wanted to be a doctor one year. I was Jim Carrey in The Mask. Jim Carrey's the Riddler. Jason Voorhees. I've been the killer in Scream. I've been Angus, the guitarist at AC/DC. I've been 1 year. I was a baseball player with his hands down his pants, a professional ball player.
Oh God!
Yeah, I was a hippie. I got that picture.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
You remember every single costume.
Oh yeah, I don't forget them. I was Uncle Fester 1 year. God, so many. Yeah.
Amazing.
The last time I dressed up was in 2015 after my accident. I was Robert Carradine in Revenge of the Nerds. After he loses his virginity, he's got the smoking jacket robe, and everything.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
After that, I was like, this is getting expensive. I'm not going to do this anymore.
So you haven't dressed up since 2015?
Yeah, that's the last time I dressed up.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised. The man who remembers all of his outfits. Well,
Yeah.
if you had a reason to, I'm sure if there was a big Halloween party or something,
I'm sure
you would.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
if I get invited to
Rally.
a party in the future, I will dress up again. But just right now, I don't really have a reason to, because it's expensive sometimes,
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Unless you can come up with something that you already have and build a costume around it. But you're doing the podcast with your friend. You're nerding out, so at least you can do that in your underwear if you wanted to, because nobody sees you.
I know, like I am now.
Oh.
So, do you have any cons coming up?
I just got asked for one for next August. That and it's so hard to commit. But yeah, I've just had such a busy year, and there were a couple of cons that came up, and I couldn't do it, and I was bummed because the last one, I can't remember where it was, but most of the cast was there of Night of the Demons. So, yeah, I was bummed because it's always a good time for all of us to get together. We look forward to that. So I feel a little left out, but yeah, hopefully something will come up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
I'm hoping next year I get to go out to LA and see everybody and stuff. It'd be great to get together with you.
Okay. Yes. You've mentioned that you might come, so
I know.
You'll just reach out and let me know.
I know it's been just a long time. It's just lots of financial shit going on and just stupid stuff. If you,
you are a car ride away, so that's good. At least you don't have to fly.
Exactly. Well, Well, I gotta tell you, my friend who I go with usually, he wants to start flying, and my mom, she doesn't want. She's gonna be 70 next year. She doesn't want to drive anymore, so she kind of wants to fly. So if I'm with either or, it's probably gonna be a plane.
Yeah. Well, you can book it in advance, and you'll get it at a really good, deal. Then it's, and it is nicer to fly, but at the same time, it's almost the same amount of time by the time you get to the airport and park, and
Mm-hmm.
But I know long car rides aren't for everybody.
Absolutely. If you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
Wow. Wow. That's a question no one has ever asked. I have to give that some thought. Maybe a library, like in one of the elementary schools I read to.
The Podewell Library.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I would love to have a vibrator named after me, and I would call it the Tommy Chatsy. Of course, you pick a vibrator. Yeah.
Some things never change with you, Tommy. That's for sure.
Not at all. I got a couple jokes for you.
Okay.
What does a redneck do for Halloween?
I don't know.
Pumpkin.
Oh, God.
Why is a dildo like tofu?
I don't know.
They are meat substitutes.
Oh, God. You are so bad.
I am
so bad.
That's why you love me.
Exactly. You are memorable, that's for sure. Can always count on you to end our conversations with a couple of dirty jokes.
Always.
All right, so you'll keep in touch with me. Let me know when you come down. And it's been a pleasure, as always, talking to you. As
always, Cathy, I love you. Thank you so much for coming on yet again. It's always fun. And I'll connect you with Greg, because I think he DM'd you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the friend you said of Amelia's that was trying to find me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll look. I mean, I'm not so good about noticing, like, especially on Messenger. I don't know what it is. I probably need to put the icon when I get a message so it alerts me. But yeah, I'll go take a look, and I'll keep an eye out for that. All right, honey. Thank you.
Cathy, have
a great Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Happy the rest of the other holidays, okay?
Thank you. Thanks, honey. I'll talk to you, I'm sure, again real soon.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Take care. Bye, honey.
Well, there you have it. Cathy Podewell, isn't she a gem? God broke the mold when he made her. Oh, she is just a wonderful lady. And such a body laugh. I love it. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes. Happy Halloween.